Hey guys, Freedom Instigator here. So today we're gonna talk about sex. Little sex talk for ya. Yeah, little freaky, yeah. Might be a little uncomfortable for some of y'all to like even listen or watch this video, but it needs to be talked about because us women, we need people to talk to, especially when it comes to sex with our husbands or our boyfriends or whatever. Cause sometimes we are not horny. We are not in the mood to get it on with our spouse, even though we know we should, and it's the right thing to do. We're just not into it. What is happening with my hair? Okay. So, sex. It's a little uncomfortable for me to even talk about. I'm a little blushy right now. So, your husband's like looking at you, giving you that eye, and you're like, thinking to yourself, fuck that. Like, I am not, you're like, please, no, not tonight. I'm just not into it. I'm just not there. I'm freaking tired. I've had the kids all day. I got one on my boob. One over there is crying. One over there doesn't know what to do with himself. Yeah, like, we've all been there. I mean, I haven't been there. I don't have kids, but I understand, like, not being in the mood and being freaking tired because you're dealing with a hormonal imbalance. Like, hello. Why don't they get it, right? Why don't they just coddle me? And why don't they just understand? And why don't they just love me? Why don't they just clean the kitchen? Why? Because that's not how they were created, okay? And I understand, like, all of us want to believe that we found this, like, perfect husband who just wants to do chores all day and coddle us and baby us and love us and all these things and basically be like a Disney prince, right? Wrong! That is bullshit. That is some limiting belief that you told yourself or some Disney movie that you watched too many times in elementary school. Just like me, because I was that person. I thought I'm gonna find the perfect guy who just always wants to love me and touch me and coddle me and baby me and sweep me off my feet at all times. You guys, like, they're human too. Okay. And their fantasy of what a perfect woman is just somebody who just wants to just fuck their brains out all the time. Just like our dream man is like Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid, their dream girl is kind of like, you know, a sex fiend, a sex addict that just wants to have sex all the time. Like, so they're human and we're human. You shouldn't have that expectation on them and they shouldn't have that expectation on us, right? So, when your husband's in the mood and you're obviously not because you're dealing with a thyroid problem, your husband is suffering, just like you're suffering. Because of this disease that you have, you're suffering and he's suffering, just like your kids are suffering. Everybody around you is suffering because they're not getting the truest, realest, most beautiful version of you because you're suffering, right? Because you have this disease that's causing all these symptoms that you can't really be a better mom. You can't really be a better wife or a friend or an employee or all of these things because you're dealing with this thyroid problem. So when you're not having sex with your spouse, then it's going to eventually destroy the marriage. Like, I don't care what anybody says that, oh, marriage shouldn't be all about sex, but let me tell you, like, it's one of the most important things in a marriage. Like, God designed that for us to connect. Like, that is the way we connect, is through sex, through making love to each other. And that is suffering when you have a thyroid problem. So obviously I talk about this all the time and you know, how to fix your thyroid naturally and all these things. And everybody knows that about me because that's why you're here in this group or on my Instagram, because you want to figure out how to do things naturally. So one of the biggest things I advocate for is to stop being a victim and get your mental right in the beginning, right? So I can go down that road of how to fix this and all that stuff. But the real thing is you have to take a look in the mirror and your husband's suffering. Your husband is suffering when you're not having sex with him. And I know it's really hard and you don't want to hear this and you're like, oh, what do you know? And blah, blah, blah. Trust me, I know more than you think when it comes to sex. Trust me. I have a husband who loves sex, just like a lot of husbands and a lot of men out there who love to have sex. That is their love language. That is how they feel loved, you guys. This is their primary love language, is to connect with their spouse, their mate. This is their primary love language, just like our primary love language might be words, or, you know, receiving gifts, or having them do things around the house for you, or taking care of the kids, or letting you go to the spa day. Like, these are our primary love language. Theirs is usually 99% sex, okay? Like, that's just what it is. That is how they were created to be. So if you have a problem with that, you need to take it up with the man upstairs and ask him why he did this, because it's not your husband's fault that he wants sex all the time. Like, that's just how he was created, okay? And I'm like, sometimes I feel like a little bit of a hypocrite, because sometimes, you know, honestly, like, I'm not in the mood either. Even without a thyroid problem, like, you know, we're just created differently. And I believe that this is why God made marriage and between a man and a woman, because it literally builds our character for his glory. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, marriage has taught me so much, and how to love myself, and how to do like unconditional love. One of the ways of doing unconditional love is doing things when you don't want to do them. Like having sex with your husband. So, my advice to you is to take a long look at your marriage and see, am I contributing to the lack of sex? Yes. Or are you going to blame your disease on the lack of sex? Are you going to blame your illness on you? Well, I'm just sick and you need to deal with that because it's through sickness and in health. Okay, honey? Like, that is bullshit, and that is not the way to think. And the more you continue to think like that, the more your marriage will suffer, okay? Yes, they should be with you through sickness and health, and that is a vow that we all take as married people. But that doesn't give you the right to just blame everybody and everything else for what you're causing. Yes, you were dealt these cards of this disease, right? Of this illness, of your hormones being imbalanced. You don't want this. It's not your fault that this happened to you. However, it is your fault of how you deal with it. How you deal with it. How you react to the situation. You can either, one, play a victim and say, you know what? I have this disease and this is the way it is for the rest of my life, and you're just gonna have to deal with it, honey. You're just gonna have to deal with it because I'm not horny, because, well, it's not my fault. I'm not into it. You're just gonna have to deal with it. What the fuck? Like, get your mental right now, honey. No offense, but like, stop. Just stop that shit right now. Like, it is your responsibility to fix yourself, okay? It is your responsibility to get in the right mindset. It is your responsibility to take all these limiting beliefs captive. And it is your responsibility to be serving always. Like, I don't know. Listen, I'm not trying to give marriage advice because, like, I am probably the last person that you should take marriage advice from. I've already been married and divorced, and I'm married again. So I don't know. I'm not a marriage counselor, but I do know when God made marriage, it wasn't like, okay, you're going to give 100% and I'm just going to give, 75%, but you can make up for the rest, honey. No, that's not how it should be looked at, you guys. Like, you shouldn't be worrying about the other person. You should be worrying about yourself and how you can get through this, because you are contributing to this. I know you weren't dealt these cards, but you have the responsibility to react a certain way. So if your husband is suffering because of your suffering, that's not fair to him. Like, you have the choice. So next time your husband is in the mood, get yourself in the mood. I don't care if you have to put on a fucking pretty face and get yourself in the mood. Get yourself in that mood. Or ask your husband, you know what? Husband, hey husband, can you help me get in the mood by doing X, Y, and Z? Talk to your spouse. Like, get like familiar with things. Like, talk to your spouse and be like, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z over in this area, or whatever it is that you like. I don't know. Everybody's different and have weird shit that they like, but whatever it is y'all like, do that. Get yourself in the mood. I don't know, role play, or like go get toys, or whatever you need to do. Like, y'all need to connect. The last thing that you should be doing is putting more stress on your marriage because of lack of sex with your husband or lack of whatever with your spouse. Stop worrying about him and worry about yourself. How can I serve my husband even though I am not in the mood to serve him because of this disease? And obviously, if your husband's an asshole all the time, that's a different story. I'm more so talking mainly about this disease and how it's messing with your hormones, okay? So, if you have any questions, let me know of how I can better serve you on this topic of sex in the bedroom with your man. Oh my God. Anyway, if you like this, please share it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join the group on Facebook. Give me a like and a comment on Instagram, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.